Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. This is Daphnis, one of Saturn's moons. It orbits between the rings, forming waves as it passes by. The view around Tokyo Tower, 1960 versus 2023. That why Tokyo Tower holds its weight because it used to be the only thing on the skyline. This is what pigeon wings look like under ultraviolet light, and this is what it looks like in Witcher 3. The way this aquarium set up their eel habitat. This is the coolest aquarium decoration I've ever seen. A photo of a magenta grasshopper taken while a passerby is picking up his dog poop. This 2,000-year-old Roman concrete pier is still standing strong in the Mediterranean. Scientists are only now discovering why it's more durable than modern concrete. A siphonophore, an order within Hydrozoa, a class of marine organisms within the phylum Cnidaria. General Patton after scolding a Sherman tank crew for using extra sandbag armor. Jack Gilbert Graham blew up a plane with his mother on board in order to collect her life insurance policy. He also killed the other 43 people on the plane at the same time. Aerial drone footage of Loktak Lake, India. Those tiny dots are houses, and the other dots are floating vegetation. Here it is, the M4A3E, 2 Jumbo Cobra King, the first tank to arrive at Bastogne, Belgium, 1944. The size of Pluto compared to Australia. It's a lot smaller than I thought. A hidden cabin in Switzerland. I will definitely do this Hobbit hideaway hole if have the money. Mummy of Pharaoh Rameses II was issued an Egyptian passport in 1974 when it was transported to Paris for restoration. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. Scottish wildlife photographer Alan McVadian set out to capture a kingfisher diving with no splash, no ripples, and no drops. 6 years and 720,000 shots later, he finally got the shot. The view around Eiffel Tower, 1889 to 2025. Recording the MGM lion, Leo the Who roars at the beginning of every MGM film. Fun fact, it was later redone with a tiger's roar. On March 8, 1979, Philips unveiled the optical digital audio disc, otherwise known as a compact disc. Pretty neat projection using water vapor. I wonder if I can do it to the vents of my aircon. The Great Blue Hole in Belize. Boats rarely go there because of the long distance from all the popular dive sites. How accurate lost child progression images are. Pause the video if you need to. Paso de los Caracoles, Chile. One of the world's most dangerous roads. This is a bubble sea snail trying to find its master. Shellos. Is that you? Look whom I met on my way to home. Try press F to accept the quest. Inscription with engraving of Arab horseback dated to 3,000 years. BC may mark beginning of breeding of Arabian horses. A gold ATM in Shanghai that melts gold, evaluates its purity, weighs, and then transfers money to your bank account in under 30 minutes. A medieval-style castle has been under construction in France since 1997, built entirely using 13th century techniques as part of an archaeology project. The Gelidong Castle is expected to be completed in 2030. This is a bridge called Shenyang Bridge in Guangxi, China. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. This picture shows the amount of each drug required to cause an overdose. In 2020, a tram in the Netherlands failed to stop in time and broke through the emergency barrier. It's being held up by the statue of a whale's tail. In the 1950s and 60s, a brief series of pranks by students at the University of Cambridge saw cars hoisted into unlikely locations around campus. An astronaut made of mirrors. Credit to the artist, Julian Voss Andrea. Now I need mirror predator, please. A German circus is using holograms instead of live animals for a cruelty-free magical experience. Should show off extinct animals while we are at it. A lonely diver compared to a blue whale. Does he boop the whale nose yet? A photo, the blood falls in Antarctica, which caused by a subterranean lake that is high in salt and oxidized iron, giving it its red color. A young girl laid to rest with a crown made of ceramic flowers, discovered in Patras, dating back to 300 to 400 BC POV on the road to the Cappadocia Hot Air Balloon Festival in Turkey. Very stunning. Man poses for a photo in front of Soyuz rocket, 1980s Kazakhstan. YouTube turns 20 years old, and Javid's first video has an Easter egg. the world's least accessible place of worship, Abuna Yamadagu. Sliced human body at the Museum of Life Sciences in Brazil. Imagine donating your body to science and they just run that shit through the deli slicer. Cayman Crunch. A picture of a jaguar scoring a kill on a cayman. Jaguars don't bite the neck. They crush the skulls like humans bite a lollipop. Cool, right? Sir Sean Connery and Thomas Brodie Sangster, both aged 34 in their respective photographs. Top view of the Forbidden City, China. Looks like a PCB board from afar. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. Imprint of a Mitsubishi Ki-51 assault plane. Sonia on the side of HMS Sussex after a kamikaze failed to penetrate the belt armor. July 26, 1945. A firefighting plane flies into a busy harbor to collect water. The sheer amount of control required to keep those planes flying straight through all of that weight adjustment is far beyond logic. A photo of Josef Menchik, the last night, who lived in a castle in Czechoslovakia and attacked tanks dressed and armed as a knight on horseback. A giant boulder from beneath the Earth's crust is carried slowly down the slope by a river of lava in Canary Islands. Back in 2013, Jie Wei went through a mind-blowing medical procedure to save his severed hand, where the doctors managed to keep his hand alive by temporarily attaching it to his left ankle. Ball's Pyramid, Australia, the tallest volcanic sea stack in the world. It is the eroded plug of a shield volcano and caldera that formed 6.4 million years ago. There is also a stick insect that is unique to this structure called Dryocosylus. Pope Leo XIII is the earliest born person ever captured on film. He was born in 1810 and died on July 20th, 1903. The rarest snake in the United States, the red-headed crate. She's the only one. The football field of the Kurdish village of Diusna. Nice view, but just don't lean forward. The statue of Chinese General Guan Yu in China. This Roman-era skeleton found in an English garden has the first ever confirmed lion bite marks from arena combat. Proof that man versus beast fights were real and brutal. A bowl of European Fruit Loops, top, compared to a bowl of American Fruit Loops, bottom. Notice the lack of vibrant colors due to the absence of harmful dyes. Aquadome in Tyrol, Austria. There's also a huge indoor pool where you can swim out. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. The RCGS Resolute was rammed by a Venezuelan Navy patrol boat after entering into international waters. The Resolute suffered only minor damage while the patrol boat sank. A man taking a roadworthiness test in Hungary, 1980s. Looks like he's playing that maze game with a scary jump scare at the end. The flight path drawn by Qantas's last 747 on its final flight from Australia before being retired in 2020. The passenger might be pissed, though. The shortest international border is 85 meters long at Peñón de Vélez de la Gomera, where Spain meets Morocco. 3D printed titanium chainmail fabric. Mithril. The giant spear still would have impaled Frodo, though. This is a wahoo caterpillar, a rare carnivorous caterpillar nicknamed Bone Collector because it uses the body parts of its prey to decorate its silk case. Romeo and Juliet was a 3-day fling that ended in 6 deaths. It's referred to as the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet for good reason. Beachwear of women in the late 1890s to early 1900s. They will save a fortune on sunscreen wearing this. The BBC uses RoboCam disguised as poop to film wildlife up close. The birds aren't real also. Gotcha. This is a wolf spider, and yes, all those tiny things riding on her back, her babies, alive, hungry, ready for action. In Cyprus, dwarf elephants survived until as recently as 12,000 years ago, making it one of the latest surviving ones. Anti-drone weapons surrounding the Vatican ahead of the Pope's funeral. Look like weapon from MIB. This is a rare normal-looking Asiatic lion from the Forest of Gir in Gujarat, India. The population of 12 in the 1880s has grown to over 670 today, thanks for conservation efforts. Skull pendant made from deer antler material and carved using a Dremel tools. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. This picture is made entirely of black, white, and light blue. How does this work? Does the brain fill out the colors when it sees the blue background? Michael Jackson tried to buy Marvel Comics in the 1990s because he wanted to personally play Spider-Man in a movie, swinging from building to building saving children. German tourist finds an uncommon shark washed up near the Golden Gate Bridge. Might be a hammerhead shark trapped in a fishing net. Ethiopia is 7 years behind the rest of the world because they follow a 13-month calendar. Will I become younger if I relocate there? First ever sperm race just happened. Humanity is doomed. I wonder what the news article will be like. Godzilla coming out of the clouds. Here's another one. Should it be called Cloudzilla? Mexican bracero workers are stripped and gassed with DDT to protect against possible infection that they may have, 1956, in El Paso, Texas. Here is the difference between tornadoes EF0 to EF5. That is scary. Does anyone know that EF3 to EF5 tornado's name? Lion with receding hairline. KSI will be so jealous of that. Sister Genevieve, a lifelong servant of the marginalized, was one of the very few granted rare permission to cross Vatican barriers and bid a final farewell to Pope Francis. This is what muscle spasms look like. My calf randomly in the middle of every night. Anyone else? Widmanstätten patterns of these take millions of years to develop. These patterns can't be duplicated here on planet Earth, proving these are extraterrestrial. Walt Disney voicing Mickey Mouse and Billy Bletcher voicing Pete the Cat. Recording session for the cartoon Mickey Takes a Trip. A triple conjunction between Venus, Saturn, and Crescent Moon. It's a heavenly smiley face. Rare unseen photos that will mind-boggle your brain. This is a cat flea under the stereo microscope. The wiggling makes it more awesome. That little guy was grooving hard to that music. This is the coronation coach of Emperor Charles VII in the Marstall Museum in Munich. That intricate work is spectacular. Did you know that Oxford University is older than the Aztec civilization? Mind blown. In the 1940s, printed fabric became something of a fashion fad. Here are some examples of it in 1945. Illegal immigrants tried to speed run the border and failed miserably. They should have walked in backwards and said they were leaving. Poseidonia australis, located in Shark Bay, Western Australia. This single plant has expanded over 180 kilometers, making it the largest individual plant and organism ever discovered. It is estimated to be about 4,500 years old, the sun being reflected by only 2 buildings out of hundreds at 6 a.m. The fires of Gondor have been lit, the true size Quetzalcoatlus compared to a normal person. Imagine being stuck in the throat. Yikes. The queue at the summit of Mount Everest. Because of this, Nepal is trying to pass legislation that would require an ascent of a 7,000-meter Nepali peak prior to being allowed on Everest. This is Balaji Badejo, a 6'10" Nigerian who was discovered in a London pub and cast as the terrifying xenomorph in Alien, 1979, his first and only acting role. On February 24, 1989, United Airlines Flight 811 suffered an explosive decompression shortly after takeoff from Honolulu International Airport, Hawaii. The forward cargo door opened due to a design flaw. Eyes of a digger wasp, with condensation magnified 20 times. Photographed by Lori Knight.